sent out. Get our bot in here. Get the Discord taken care of. And walk on screen. Alright. Hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson and it is September 18th. And this is the September 18th Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be doing a little bit of cleanup on the demo. Specifically, we're going to be starting off with some minor issues with the menu interactions with the demo. And to show you what I mean, I actually should have done this before I started streaming, but I forgot to do this. I'm going to add a compile tag for TQ demo. Okay, so this is a special tag that I have put together for use in the demo specifically. And all it does is when I add that compilation tag, it allows certain scripts to behave slightly differently. Most things behave the same, like everything gameplay-wise behaves the same. It's just that you can't run a benchmark, although probably in the final demo for the game that will not be the case. I've only excluded it for convention purposes because I don't want people trying to run a benchmark on my laptop since that would be kind of irrelevant. So instead, there are, for the most part, things like game options for key bindings, for display options, those sorts of audio options, those sorts of things are all enabled. But benchmark is disabled as well as extras because it doesn't really make sense to allow the convention demo to have access to the extra platform. That's a weird thing to do. So, okay, now that that's done, let's go ahead and play. And you will see some notable differences. Well, I guess some subtle differences, not really notable differences, between the default version and this demo specific version. Okay, I'm just going to skip through this. Alright. Also, I need to update my copyright year. Start. So first things first, load and continue are completely disabled. I do actually have a save file. You can see that there is something in the background, which means that there is a save file, but I can't actually do anything. So if I were to hit continue, it will say cannot continue in demo. If I hit load, same thing, and if I do extras, same thing. Now we don't have this, well, we need to disable a couple of other things that we don't have disabled yet. For example, benchmark, which does actually run the scene, but we don't really want that. Although actually I am kind of curious to see this. Oh god, it really needs to... Oof. I need to redo this benchmark scene too. This is pretty rough. This is really rough actually. All the particles are gone. Oh, well actually no, that's weird. So fire isn't gone, but the wizard one was gone. That's interesting. So it seems like my light maps are completely out of date for this, which is very curious. Well, anyway. Let's go ahead and just say blah blah blah, because that's fine. Okay. So that's what happens when we do the benchmark, but I don't really need that, although we might end up cleaning it up a little bit anyway. Let's go back to options. There's nothing really else here that needs to be disabled. So really just the benchmark thing for now. Let me see. There was something else that I wanted to do. Although this isn't specific to this mode. There is also a few, or there are also a few UV problems that I need to solve. Although this is, oh no, that makes sense. Okay, so let's go ahead and stop playing. And first things first, I'm actually going to go ahead and go to my benchmark scene. I'm kind of curious to know why I have... Okay, so we have a camera fly through. Well, let's see what this is. Which I'm going to put down here because that's a little bit easier. So, yeah, that's all hand keyframed. Oof. I think we're going to use Cinemachine. And that is also a problem. Okay, that's why. Cool. Well then, let's go ahead and get these things set up, actually. Because I apparently have some refactoring to do. So this is going to be a little bit of a thing that we can do. And actually, if we can get this set up in a way that's fine, we might actually include the benchmark in the demo. And, well, no, because we're gonna just disable it in the demo. Because again, I don't want people to run it at conventions. There's no real point to it. Because it's obviously meant to be used when you're testing your own device. So let's go ahead and for now just kind of get these things fixed up. So first things first, let's go ahead and add a CPL. Actually, I think we can do a playable. Nope, we can't because you're not going to like it. So let's try that again. Sleepyout.common. Oh, really? Is it text quest then? Set animator parameter track. So it is. Well, fair enough. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and also add a camera track. So let's go to Cinemachine track. We'll do that. Let's go ahead and add our benchmark camera, which will have a Cinemachine brain. Or Kone, Cinemachine brain. Okay, let's go ahead and create. I always forget that that's not an option there for some reason. Cinemachine, create virtual camera. Actually, no, we want the dolly. So we're going to do create dolly camera with track. Let's go ahead and move these things into menu cameras. Alright. So we are going to also include a look target because we're kind of going to use that to game what's being looked at. So we'll call this look, or how about camera target? Camera look target. Cool, cool. The camera's positioned to the same point. Oh, that's fine. We don't need to worry about that yet. So first things first, let's go ahead and move things into position. So we're going to have our dolly track, which is way off course. So let's go ahead and start it where it should be. Let's also get this looking so we can see everything. You know what I should have done is I should have copied its position. So that means I'm going to cheat and do this. Timeline. Okay, now let's see if we can get this. So let's copy that component. Let's stop recording. Let's go back to here. Turn you on. Paste component values. Oh, right. Oh, it's not what I wanted. I wanted this here. There we are. All right. And from here, we are going to want to actually add our points. So we'll start with 0.0, which is nothing. Yeah, okay, good. It's deeply confusing. I really don't know why it does that. Whatever. Let's go ahead and add a second point. Now the second point is going to be very different. There we are. It's going to be 0 in the X and only 10 in the Z. Let's go ahead and add a new one. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my ProGrids. Let's turn you on, makes things... Oh, it's immune. That's very sad. Okay. Well, that's worth knowing, at least. Let's go to 10, and we'll say negative 25. Maybe. Probably closer to negative 22. 23. All right. Let's go ahead and add a new point. So negative 23 and 20, 35, question mark. It's not too bad. Kind of just trying to get this. Oof. That is a really steep, really steep curve here. I wonder if we can kind of mitigate that. Roll the path, that's all fine. Might have to end up moving that point over a little bit, so let's go ahead and move this over to be like negative 2. There we go. That makes that a lot less pronounced, which is better. Which actually means this should probably be negative. Yep, there we go. And here is where we are currently. Oops, 22. There we are. We'll also shorten that to 33, I think. Let's go ahead and add one more point. We're going to say 33 with negative. Oh, this is a big one. I'm guessing that actually might be 100. That should probably also be 35. No, this one I need to shorten, actually. This one's going to be negative, like, 30, I think. Which means that this is actually going to be 30, like that. And that means that we can add one more point here. Let's go ahead and add this as 30, and then... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That was 35. This should be negative 100, I'm guessing. Almost. Might be a little much. Let's go ahead and say 36 as well, which is fine. So this will be 36. Okay. This is going to be 95. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Because the idea here is that we want to fly through. Oh, does it have height variation? Because it shouldn't. I don't think it does. I think that's just my eyes playing tricks on me with the gizmo. So we're essentially going to go like this, although that is really nasty looking. So let's go ahead and say negative 35. Yeah, that's better. Which probably means this should be negative 23, 5. 4 looks fine, which means that this should probably be 7. Trying to flatten that out a little bit more so the curve is not quite as intense. That's not looking great. Let's go ahead and have this be 12, so that curve is also not so crazy. Let's move this up to 12 anyway, and then we'll move this up to 14. Pretty good. I might actually move that down to 13 just so that we don't get too close to the corner there. Good. Okay. So that is our next point. Probably what I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to let this play so that I can see where that camera flies, just so that I can make sure that I'm actually following it correctly. Okay, so let's turn that on, and let's get this going. Let's try this. This shouldn't take us too much longer to finish up, but it's important to have a benchmark scene that actually works. Oh, you know what? Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, right. I was going to say, like, it's going to... Well, I eyeballed that pretty good, actually. It's almost exactly where it needs to be. I'm going to guess that my rotation starts a little bit earlier, but that's fine. Okay, so we'll get there. This will also actually give me a little bit more control, so I don't like skirt the door like this one tends to do. You know what I do have to do though is I have to set up these paintings to be the tutorial stuff. Okay. So that works all right. I think we have a good idea of where we want this to curve now. So let's go ahead and go back to the dolly track. Let's turn this on. And let's see here. So our final point is going to be probably closer to 90. Yep, that looks right. Let's go ahead and open this up. That is going to be probably negative 100 with a z of 40? Nope, 50. That was way off. Interesting. I think this needs to be shorter at 85. Yep. And this needs to be slightly longer at 103. 102, actually. Alright, so that's our curve there. Things are still looking pretty good. Alright, let's add one more point. We're going to stay at 102 for the x. Z is going to be, it looks like 60-ish. Probably closer to 55. 58. Okay. Let's add one more. This will be probably closer to 60. Nope, 60. Yep. With a negative, I'm guessing 95 value. Not bad. It's pretty good. And then if I remember correctly, the final movement was basically like into here and then back to here. So that's going to be a little awkward. Because I basically, oh wait, no, it's not, because it's only moving along this. The look target is what's important with that. So let's go ahead and add one more point. It's going to be like roughly here. Actually, I can't do it that extremely. So it's got to be 60 again with negative 90, probably. Yeah. And one more point, which is going to be at negative 88, followed by 40, nah, 50, 55, 8, 6. Okay. That's pretty good, although I'm not crazy about that. I think this needs to be changed a little bit. Let's go ahead and move you up. There we go. I'd like that last move to be a little bit straight back, almost. So, okay, I think that works. Let's go ahead and scrub this to just see what this looks like. Maybe we can bump you up to 30 instead of just 20. Let's hit save. And let's test this. So body should be here we are, path position. I was like, what the heck? That's hilarious. It happens instantly, so it looks like I'm backing out of the door that I just came in. Huh. Okay. So let's go ahead. And the next thing we need to do is affect our look target. It gets to have the dubious honor of very awkwardly moving along a dolly as well, but not quite. I am not sure what to do here, admittedly. The easy thing to do would be to keyframe it so that it moves kind of alongside the dolly. Not crazy about that. But I guess to start, let's go ahead and position it at least. Okay, where do you start? 4.5. There we go. Cool. So let's go ahead and say, oh dear, because for some reason, oh, that's great. It's whole number increments, except that Cinemachine does not work with it. Um, Also, hello, Garrett. Welcome back. It is. Well, I don't know. A benchmark isn't really feature creep. Besides, it's a pretty easy thing for me to do. It's literally just a duplicate of an existing level with most of the stuff stripped out in terms of interactions. Um, but some of this stuff got broken in a recent update that I did. So if we look at like our timeline, you can see that we have a lot of tracks that are messed up. So I just have to reassign some animator values, and then I'll be good basically. Not a whole lot of effort to fix this up. But I wanted to go ahead and clean it up just because I am currently cleaning up the demo. So, how have you been tonight? Water. All right. I also think I'm going to just real quick move this in right about there so it doesn't have such a huge swing around. Okay, looks good there. All right. So now we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do with this look target. Because the easy thing to do would be to kind of just keyframe positioning and have it linearly lerp. Or not even linear, just ease in out lerp, and we would probably be pretty good. Because the camera just needs to kind of vaguely look in a direction for this transform. So it'll actually not be too bad for us to move this around, I don't think. Doing well. Dog sat last weekend, or last week, and the dog likes to wake me up at 6 a.m. Oof. Yeah, dogs. Working on audio occlusion? Nice. What system are you working on? Is it a custom solution, or are you looking at like the Steam audio stuff? Okay, so it still looks like it's off. Like, like it's weird that the camera. I mean, it clearly has a Y position there, but oh, why did you go back down to 4.5 or to 4? You should be at 4.5. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay. So let's just try keyframing these positions and see if we can make that work without a lot of effort. That's my hope, at least. I'm going to move the timeline script or the timeline window off to the side for a second because it's going to be easier for me to see the game view, or I need to see the game view and the scene view, so it'll be easier for me to work with this way. Let's go ahead and mute this. Using Fmod, okay. PS4 and the new Valve Google systems don't work on consoles yet. They don't? I suppose that kind of makes sense, but for some reason I thought that Valve's integration, at least, well, granted that's with Unreal. I thought that Unreal's integration with Steam Audio had a more complete feature set, but I guess Manifold Garden is in Unity, so. And from what I understand, Unity is like the worst thing to work with in terms of plugins, so. How's development going? I don't think it's a technical issue since they support mobile. No, yeah, I'm guessing that it's honestly just working with Unity. As terrible as that sounds. Okay, let's go ahead and go back here. We need to add actually an animator to this. So miscellaneous animator. Let's go ahead and add a new animation track. Doing a couple of things here. Let's see. So we're going to have this camera look at target. Let's go ahead and record. We will start our position right here. Okay, then we're going to move. Oh, that's interesting. Ugh. Right. Okay. I'm actually going to, before I do anything else, I'm going to set. I guess I don't really need you. I'm going to add an animation track for the camera, this camera specifically, to animate the path position value. Let's go ahead and add component, miscellaneous animator. All right. Let's go back here. We're going to add that new animator. Zero in on that. Let's take a look at this. We will make that 0 to start, and to end it will be. Oh, that's interesting. I had, for some reason, the setting is using timecode values, or is using seconds instead of frames. That's curious. 24 0, and that's going to be, I think, like 8 is what it was. So we want 10. All right. So this is what it's going to look like. Obviously, this is not great because it's looking the wrong way, but at the very least, we can see what it looks like by scrubbing now. Cool. So let's go ahead. And we're going to scrub to, let's see, by about this point, I think I want it to be moved. So let me go ahead and turn on recording. And we're going to move this over to about here. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's going to require a little bit of a change, but that's all fine. Okay, so right about here is where we need to be looking far down. So we're going to be looking right about here. Right about here, I think. And let's go ahead, move down. Right about here, we're going to be wanting to look at the hallway. So we're going to go all the way down to here, preferably centered. Let's move this all the way again. All right. So let's fine tune these curves real quick just so that we can kind of make sure that this looks right. But this is what it's going to be when we just play. Without any curve editing, obviously it's going to look pretty ugly. Things are going to be a little, what's the correct term? They're not going to quite match up, so we're going to want to adjust these curves so that they are a little slower to end or to reach their final end goal. Oh man, this really sucks. Yeah. No, that's gross. Yep. So we're gonna like frickin' zip through, of course, the middle section because it's proportionally less compressed. Gross, which means that I have to adjust the curve for that so that it's slower in the middle. Go figure. All right. Well, whatever. It seems to be working, but actually not. Before we edit curves, let's just finish getting positions in there. So we're gonna be here for a while. Not crazy about that curve, so we'll have to do something about that. So right about here is where we're going to want to be facing the door. So let's go ahead and hit record, move this to about here. there. That's interesting. I think we could probably do a little bit better here in terms of our dolly positioning. Let's try putting 6 at right about here, I'm going to say. Give ourselves a little bit more of a... jeez. Alright, now let's go to 7 real quick. We're going to do something similar. Kind of like move this to here. Let's try it there. That's looking pretty good. And lag. Okay, I think we're good there. So let's go ahead. Scrub this around. Make sure everything looks right. It's going to flip, which is going to be hilarious. Yeah. Alright, so right about here. So everything's good. At about this point, I think we're going to want to be facing the other door. So like right about here. Actually, I'm also going to cheat and have this be at the far end, because by the time we get to here, we're going to want to start rotating. So when we get to the very end, we are going to want to be here. Right about there. Alright. And also, because I keep forgetting about this, we're going to crank our field of view to 60. Or I guess 75, because that's the default. We'll go to 60. Alright. So this is all of the flying positions that I think our look target needs to have. So just real quick, let's take a look at it, make sure that we were roughly correct in terms of where all the look position should be. And then we are going to adjust our curves. Yeah, that's going to be fun to try and animate that. Ugh. Okay. Okay. Oh, that looks about right. Cool. So now it's all about the curves. So let's go ahead and I think we're going to want X position here. Oh yeah, this is going to be fun. Oh my god. Why? Well, apparently it won't let me drag. Oh, it's probably because it's recording still. Or not. Okay, hold on. Oh, well that's useful to know. Interesting. Apparently, if you hold down Alt and right-click, you can like manually scrub the size. That's useful. But that's not actually what I want, which is to just move around. What the frig? Is this using Cinemachine? It is, because it's just a benchmark test. And originally it was all hand-framed values or hand keyframed for the rotation of the camera. However, I would like to use Cinemachine just because it gives me a little bit more of a fluid motion. The hand keyframe values were a lot. They were decent, but they were a little bit more jagged. So I just want to use Cinemachine because it'll be a lot smoother. Okay. Seriously though, you're gonna murder me, aren't you? Let's try this again. Focus up over here. And let's go ahead and say broken. I do feel bad that you guys can't see this very well, but this is about where this is going to be. So we're going to be like here. Let's go to position Z. Let's do broken. Looking pretty good so far. Yep, that's about where I want. Okay. Back to the X values. Surprisingly, it's actually pretty simple. Well, not really surprisingly, I guess. Editing curve values is one of the nicer things to be able to do in terms of timeline. At curve editing is probably one of the easiest things to do when you're doing broad sweeping changes like this. When I'm doing really precise things, curve editing sucks. But for things like this, where you're just kind of trying to delay rotation values, that might not be enough. Actually, hold on. Let's go ahead and say broken. I'm actually gonna have this swing right a little bit, so it'll go like this. So I'll actually go a little to the right before I start swinging left. Good. All right, so right about here, we're good. Hold on. Broken. Right about here, so we're gonna go here. I may want that to keep pace a little bit because you'll barely be able to see the left wall when you come in here, which is probably fine. But okay, let's go ahead and see what this looks like. But yeah, I've been trying to use Cinemachine more and more because that's a really nice tool. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and focus up, see what this looks like in motion. I think the last bit is gonna be a little bit more awkward, but I think this will be fine as long as we don't get any jumps. We should be good. But there are certainly quirks that you have to get used to with Cinemachine. Although I'm glad I finally figured out how to get dollies to freaking work because that took me way longer than it should have. Yeah, I feel like that rotation is way too fast. But that end rotation is pretty good. Okay. So the main thing is this rotation needs to last a lot longer. So let's go ahead, grab our position data, hit F. I'm just going to grab these guys and let's just move you there. Seems about right. So now I'm going to, ooh. Well, that's not quite what I had in mind, but it's not actually bad. Interesting, though. Oh, I know why it's doing that. That totally makes sense. Um, go ahead and stop this. Control Z that. And what I'm going to do is, instead of going to here, I'm actually going to just add a new keyframe value. Well, hold on. You know, it would really be nice. There is one thing I really do wish that Cinemachine had, or not Cinemachine, Timeline had, which is a go to next keyframe button, but there is not one. That's one of the nice things that things like Adobe Premiere has, or Adobe After Effects, where you can jump to the next keyframe. And Timeline does not have that functionality because it would make lining up frame perfect stuff a lot easier. Because now I have to kind of awkwardly grab it. So 1297. Okay. right, so we are going to copy these values. Go ahead and grab this, copy component, and then we're going to go over to about here, I'm going to say. And let's paste component values. Let's take a look at it. So now instead of being here, we're actually going to have you be like right about here. All right, so now this is what it's going to look like. So it's still a little quick. Not entirely sure I like that. Yeah, I really don't like that. Let's try, stop this. Let's edit keys. Let's put this at like 1670. So it's going to look more like this. Moved it back by about a second and a half. That's actually really good. Okay. So yeah, that looks pretty nice. So that's our camera movement and rotation. It's a lot smoother than it was before, so that's nice. Next thing is just to hook up some particle effects and some animation keyframe. Well, not keyframes, but animation triggering. Let's go ahead real quick. I'm going to save. Oh, that's okay. I was going to say, like, it's interesting that it didn't reset the camera dolly. Let's go ahead and just rename this dolly, and we'll call this benchmark cam. Okay, we are looking good. I do not need this animator anymore. I do not need the screenshot tool either. We can get rid of you. Let's go back to our camera fly through. I am going to get rid of the animation track for that. Let's get rid of this. All right. So now we get to do all the fun stuff. So we're going to come over to here. I'm assuming this is the animator that I want. So let's go ahead and grab this. I'm taking guesses as to what my original clips were, but I'm assuming this is correct. So we are going to set an animator. Let's go ahead and grab this. Here we are. So like, what am I doing? So animator for throne door benchmark controller. Very good. We will have is open is true. I do not recall what. Wow, I almost put it in the right spot just by guessing. For context, that's where it was. I just kind of dropped it there, and that's almost exactly where I need it to be. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try to like sandwich this. It's not gonna go well. So we need to have the door open almost, probably a little bit right about here, right before we actually. Wow, that's almost perfect. Okay. Yeah, it actually works really well. It's 20. Yeah, I'm good with that. Actually, that's perfectly fine. Okay. Let's delete that. So that's the door. The next thing we have to do is set up text request, animator parameter, text request, animator parameter track. These are going to be the animators for the side room and bedroom, respectively. So that's the bedroom. That's the side room. Messed that up. Here we are. Pretty much going to do the same thing. We're going to add a set animator clip. I'm going to guess. I really want to guess somewhere right about here, but I think that might be. Nope, that's a little too late. So probably right about here. It's probably actually going to change. But anyway, so side room, castle. Are these the same? Castle benchmark door. Good. Let's go back to here. Grab this castle benchmark door. We are going to do a bool. It is going to be as open. Again, that value is going to be true. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We'll come back to these to fine-tune them a little bit later. Bedroom door, already there. Set animator, probably right about there, I'm guessing. Let's go ahead, and that's the castle benchmark door. Again, is open, is true, looking good. All right, so we want probably about maybe closer to here. Let's go ahead and put that there. All right, let's delete that. Next, we have an animator for the wizard. So we're going to say set animator parameter track. Let's go ahead and grab this. I'm going to assume it's not on you, and that's, oh, really? It's one more below that, huh? Right there. Because it's always model. I always call them model. Let's go ahead and drag this here. We're going to say set animator parameter, probably somewhere about here. And let's see, wizard controller. Grab that. Is laughing, that is what I want. Is true is going to be the value. Still is bending. Nope, is laughing is good. Okay, I think that's pretty much all of the animation that I need. Now we need to handle the play particles stuff, so I believe that's going to go under play particle system track. Fortunately, this one I can line up exactly, which is actually very nice. Play particle system. This one I'm going to also have to guess, but I'm pretty confident I can guess. This would be especially nice if I could actually play particle system playable. I want to say it's this, but nope. Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. The first particle system to be played is probably going to be... Ooh. Ooh, that's no good. What's going on here? This is... What the frig is happening here? It's an exposed reference, but why is its editor messed up? Okay. Curious. So, interesting. This, what we're seeing here, this particles, exposed name, and default value, this is what happens when an editor script gets borked, or if I'm in debug mode, but I'm definitely not in debug mode. So, curious. Although I did just notice that this particle stuff has the particle system icon on it, which is cool, but I don't remember doing that. Oh dear. That kind of worries me. Interesting. Let's go ahead and open the script up. This is interesting. Who knows? Okay, so do I have a custom inspector for this? Track clip type. No, I don't. Out of curiosity, let me add some other thing that requires an exposed reference. Let's see. Something like combat. Yeah, that one I know has one. Attacks. Oh, that's fine. Defense section. Please tell me that this is not like a bug. Okay, good, it's not. Interesting, though. So it's not a bug in how those scripts are on how the editor is drawn. This is literally just a exposed reference. Interesting. Well, Huh. I don't know what to do there. Let's add... hold on. Let's see. CPL common. cutscene track. Play cutscene. This also has an exposed reference. Okay, so it's fine. Oh dear. Maybe it has something to do with the particle system? Ew, that's gross. I guess the way to test this is... Let's go ahead and get rid of you. I'm reasonably sure that those were not actually related. Let's turn off preview here. Maybe that has something to do with it. Nope. Interesting. Alright, I'm going to edit this script, and I'm just going to add a new exposed reference. And we're going to call this particles 2, and let's see if it's broken. So we don't have custom inspector, so I shouldn't have to write anything extra there. So if it pops up and fixes everything, then we'll be good. I don't know what's going on here. That's super weird to me that it's busted like that. If it's broken, then I'm going to try making a different one that is not of type particles, like maybe one that's just of type game object. Still compiling. Okay. And if that's the case, then it means that particles are just weirdly ignored. Okay, they're okay. So it wasn't that, it was just weird and ignoring me, whatever. So particles is going to be laughter. There are no child systems to that. We are going to, actually no, that won't be laughter. It would be effects. I want to say, oh no, this is fine, yeah. So this is wizard blast particles, and then vanish. Oh no, it's the vanish then blast. Okay, let's go ahead and do this again. This is going to be vanish particles. We're going to go ahead and just do manual duration so that everything stays the same. And then, of course, we will have blast particles. That we don't particularly care about, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and mute this and make sure that everything's looking good here. Okay. So I think this is everything that I need. So let's go ahead and, oh, actually, you know what? Yep, okay, never mind. Don't have to control child systems. So let's save this and try loading in, see what happens. In theory, everything will work just fine, but we will find out. All right, I'm going to, I guess I can just load in, just play this scene. The only thing that we have left to do really is one, rebake light maps, but I'll do that off the air because that's a stupid waste of time. Oh, I actually do need to change the crap. What is it? I need to change the paintings. That's right, so that they use the proper tutorial scripts. Okay. Eh. Yeah, we definitely need to adjust the curve here. Wow, that is a hiccup. It was so much of a spike that it just froze there. Gross. Okay. Also, what is up with this? Am I like zoomed in or something? Oh, I was totally zoomed in. Okay. Okay, so let's stop that. The next thing that I need to do, let's go ahead and turn this all on. Let's collapse everything. Is 1, save. And 2, we're going to go ahead and attach. Oh, this sucks. I have to do those again. I hate. It's so time consuming. You know what actually I'm going to do, because it'll be faster, is 1, I'm going to check to see if these things even have their... Okay, I was going to say, I thought I stripped it off of it, but cool. So I'm actually just going to cheat, and instead of doing all the effort of redoing all of these values, I'm just going to load the castle scene and pull in the paintings from that scene. Because that, I mean, I might as well, right? They're already here. Okay, so we have props, hall, paintings. Let's see, we only need move, sprint, interact. We only need those ones, so let's go ahead and drag those in. Go ahead and put those there. Then we are going to want to have in the side room, the den, and the bedroom with paintings. Sounds like a game of Clue now. Let's see, we're going to have, not in the hall, the side room, bedroom, paintings. All right, so we're going to have the interactive painting. That's the only one that really needs to move. Okay, so that's the side room. And then we're going to have the crouch, inventory, help, and interact. Yeah, we need all four of those. Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. So cool. Let's go ahead and close the castle. We'll say remove scene. No, I don't want to save. All right. Let's get these in order now. So move painting is these values the same. They should be, but I don't know. So we're not going to need the interactive object. We can remove that part. But we do want the tutorial. Let's see. I can probably get rid of the model. Yep. Get rid of pretty much all of the actor stuff that I have. Yeah, we don't need this. Remove component. We don't need collision at all. So let's just go ahead and get rid of that. It's all fine. Get rid of all of these things. Cool. And that is that. So now we can get rid of the old one. Pretty much do the same thing. Move these components. Delete the collision. Remove the model module. We don't need these. Components. Get rid of all the labels we don't need. Okay, so that's looking good. Get rid of these things. So everything should more or less be corrected here. Obviously, it's going to look like it's not light mapped because it's not, but everything else should be in order. So let's go ahead and fly over here. Same thing. Let's hit save. Come back to here. We're going to have our interact painting. Let's just turn this off. I really don't need those components in the base scene either. We can get rid of those. So this is also nice because it's showing me that I can optimize the base castle scene a little bit more. Let's see. Let's collapse that. And we're going to look for, these are the old ones. Let's go ahead and just get rid of the new ones. Remove. Alright, so everything should be in order. Everything, yep, should be good. So I think what we can do now is just run the test for this scene. So let's go ahead and jump back all the way to the beginning, splash fade, and let's see what benchmark looks like now. Stretching, stretching, stretching. I was debating actually making today about adding in one of the unlockable features of the game. So when you beat the game with very specific circumstances, you can unlock font colors. So if, for example, well, to start, I guess by default the game's text is all white. But the idea is that once you say beat the game for the first time, you'll unlock a new font color, and you can just change all of the menus to be that font color. Um, and I don't have that system in place yet, but I probably will at some point because I want to add unlockables. Obviously, I think that's a fun thing to do, and it's a pretty low hanging fruit to just change the text color of everything. Let's go to options, benchmark. Oh dear, probably should hide my cursor, but this is fine. So this will let us keep an eye on the paintings, make sure that nothing looks too wrong. It's a little awkward having no audio, actually. Hmm. I wonder if that's because the camera doesn't have audio on it? That can't be right. Or is like all the audio way too quiet? Okay, so that all works. It's pretty smooth. We do have to, I did forget to change the curve for the benchmark. I did forget to change the curve on the fly through. So let's go ahead and go to one. I'm going to delete this hero. But two, characters. Is this one? I might just make that red by default instead of white. But I'm also pretty sure that, yeah, I don't really know what else I would do with it besides make it red. I could make it, in theory, the color of the previous save file. Yeah, let's do that. That'd actually be a nice thing to do. Because right now it's hard colored to be a specific color. Although I will actually keep that white for now. Let's see if when we fly through here it does actually change. I'm pretty sure it stays white. And what we'll want to do is just have it be the color of the previous save. Excuse me, hiccup. The previous save hiccup. We want it to be the color of the previous save file, so the most current one. And if one does not exist, we will default to red. Let's see. Yeah, so it's not really doing anything. So there's just there's totally audio in here. Also, why is this? What is going on here? Hold on. It's not. It's set to not destroy on load. Why? Oh God, why? This is interesting. Um, I also have audio now. I can hear it. Um, hmm. I'm also gonna test something. It's oh God, why? Why are you set to not destroy on load? Oh my goodness, that's a terrible thing. Um, hmm. Okay. So, benchmark manager. You gonna tell me what's going on here? Do I even need this? Refresh torches. Oh my God! Of course I jury rigged that. Um, hmm. um, I'm tempted to write a stupid script. Basically, I'm tempted to write a Cinemachine, or not a Cinemachine, a timeline script that will accept any component, basically like a key binding to invoke a specific function on it. That could be interesting and set a value. But for now, curious. Don't destroy on load. It can't be on the collection manager, could it? That would be so strange. Totally possible, I suppose, but rather strange. Okay, Unity, you gonna work with me here? No? Just gonna freeze up? Okay. Just making sure. So, the fact that the castle is getting put into Don't Destroy Unload is obviously not ideal. So, let's see. Find. Get collections, add. Collections, remove, on enable. Managers. Add this. Go to definition. Oh, that's just the list. Okay. Okay, so where in here do I have anything that's like Don't Destroy Unload? No. Oh dear then. What's doing it? Something is keeping it. Something is making it not be destroyed. What the frig? Interesting. Let's try. Show camera fresh room. Make sure that this isn't doing anything stupid. No, that's all looks fine. Camera left target. Props. No, that's all interesting. I don't need any of this. Let's go ahead and go to props, side room, bedroom, bookshelf. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and move back to here. Curious. Huh. Yeah. Well, this is interesting. I'm not entirely sure why it would be moved into the Don't Destroy Unload. Huh. Okay. Let's... I didn't do anything like that in... Are you gonna open up? Ah, there you are. I didn't do anything in here, did I? No. Nothing in here is marked as Don't Destroy Unload. And I can probably get rid of this. Curious. Well, I suppose the easiest thing to do is to just play it. Let's turn off maximize on play. Because I think camera fly through does not get put into Don't Destroy Unload, but Castle does, which is not great. I don't really know what to... Yeah, we do have audio. Weird. Let's find out, shall we? Okay, Castle has not been moved into Don't Destroy Unload yet. Let's keep an eye on that. See if when it happens. Because that would actually kind of explain the lag spike that we were seeing if things were moving around like that. And now it's fine. Okay. I'm curious. So, oh good, I also broke all of my substances. Looking good. Cool. Oh man. Oh no. They're all busted up. I'll give it a second. Alright, now let's go back. Oh good, it's all just broken for all of time. Cool. Well, this is my nightmare room. Although funny enough, this actually is a pretty cool aesthetic. I kind of want to get pictures of this. Let's get some editor screenshots here. That's actually kind of cool looking. Because it's like if this was an intentional level design choice, it would actually be pretty cool. But as it is, it's not, and therefore it's sad. All right. Although I am curious to see those now. Let's see. I think it goes to screenshots right there. It's like that's what it looks like. Interesting. Well, anyway. Yeah, these will require being rebuilt in order to actually fix themselves now. But for the time being, I can at least adjust the curve. So let's go ahead and go through our camera fly through one more time. Go down to here. Let's open up our timeline. And this one I'm actually going to move to the top because we're just going to be editing keyframes so we can see it. Let's collapse this, collapse that, and that. Let's go ahead and open up our target here. Now this is where things are going to get a little iffy. So I basically need to animate this value like that. Of course, that's going to cause huge problems. Huge problems. Gonna have to reevaluate the curves. Because now you can see that I'm like way behind it. I actually think an easier thing for me to do would be to keyframe positions that I would like it to be at for specific intervals. So let's go ahead and stop playing, turn off preview, Control Z to undo that, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to say like really right about here, I think is fine. So about 900. Let's go ahead and start recording this. So at about 900, we're going to want to be there. Okay. And at about, I was being honestly, I'd say probably about 20, so 14, 20. We are going to be at 5.0. So this is what it's going to look like. So it should still be, relatively speaking, pretty fast to start off. And then we're kind of going to hit a little bit of a slowdown towards the end here. Just hope that it's not too harsh. Okay. We are going to have to adjust the timing of our camera look target moves, though. That's all fine. Let's go ahead and stop playing, turn this off. Let's open this up. So we want you to be there, you to be about there. Nope. go ahead, grab this, try to grab all these without moving things. I don't like that it's curving so much. I'm thinking like right about there. So let's see. Key, okay, so 987. Let's go ahead and copy this value, copy component. I'm going to go down to about here, here-ish. Let's paste those values again. That way they're flat. So now it should behave like this. It's going to be a little sharp there. But now we have a long flat shot while we move forward, and then we will get to move in a little bit more. Nice. Okay. Looking good. Okay. I think we're good. So let's jump in here one more time just to make sure that everything actually does end up looking nice. And that'll be pretty much it, I think, for the benchmark stuff. The audio is weird. I will take a look at that later, but it's not particularly, hugely important. So let's turn off preview. Let's turn on maximize on play, and let's move through a blue castle with some things that are arbitrarily not blue. That or everything will regenerate, which I seriously doubt. But man, I really want to do a game jam now with just like solid color materials for environment settings. Because that could be pretty cool. Camera movements at the end are a little jarring, but they're not terrible, so I think that's good. Alright, so let's go ahead, and here is something that I'm not really sure how I should feel about. When it returns to the main menu, it goes all the way through the start screen, and you can see that there's a brief moment where it pulls up the actual options menu. It happened again. Crap! We went back to the castle, and it spawned the player. Oh dear. Well, that's curious. Okay, let's go ahead and stop playing. I'm going to turn off. Oh, it's because I. Okay, might have just been because I started from here. Let's go back to the splash fade and do this from the start. Because obviously the players will never be able to actually start playing from the benchmark scene itself. Textures are so 2010. I've actually been wanting to go back and replay Killer 7 recently, and for some reason seeing all the blue rooms really made me think of that. And there's no real reason why, because Killer 7 didn't have any blue rooms like that. Although now all the materials are going to get rebuilt. So that's kind of nice. I think it was just the like solid colors mixed with the dark shadows on them caused them to have a nice effect. Let's go to options. Let's go to benchmark. Keep an eye on everything. Make sure that things don't move into the don't destroy unload when we don't expect them to. I think I need to move that stuff back a little bit. Oh, right, and I need to set up the character to use the favorite color of the last save file. Okay. Works pretty well. go ahead and do blah, blah, blah. Let's see if we get dumped back into the main scene. I am hopeful that we won't, but if we do... Okay, interesting. So I guess that's just a weird side effect of coming back from the benchmark scene directly. Whatever. Everything else seems to work. Cool. So we're actually in a pretty good place there. Let's see. Monitor, texture, volume for music and sound effects. Okay, yeah, I think that's all looking pretty nice. So let's go ahead and just real quick, let's jump into the benchmark scene. I'm going to set up the player or the hero to reflect the previous save, and if one does not exist, use just red. So let's go ahead. I'm going to come down over to here. Might as well just do it with the benchmark manager script. No real reason to make a separate one. Let's go ahead and find all references. All references. References. Okay, thought so. Serialize field. Private. So I'm just going to do this real quick. Okay, and we are also going to want to have sprite renderer hero. Okay, and let's see here. So on initialize, I am going to want to say so this is where things get a little interesting. I might actually be able to retrieve it from session. So if I'm lucky, I can just do this. Session dot favorite color, which I believe is a text color. Yeah. So we're going to say hero dot color is equal to not color extensions. I think I call it like global variables dot color check. False. And then that gives us the actual color value that we can then say dot to color. And I actually want to say to hex. Hold on. I believe this gives me a string representation back of it, which, yeah, okay, color extensions, hex to color. That's what I want. There we are. Let's do that. All right, so I think that's all I really need to do there. Let's go ahead and let that compile. We will jump back to the session, and I believe that by default, this session favorite color is actually red, so that's pretty much everything. Yep, right there. So that's all doing what I would expect there. So now our player or our hero's color should update to match whatever the previous color for the last save file was, or red if one does not exist. So, taking off. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. Have a good night. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put this in right there. Let's hit save. Let's go ahead. I probably should slide the particle effects and animators for the wizard and all that a little bit. Let's go up to here. So particles, wizard. I think we're basically going to want to move. Let's delay it by about a second. So let's say 16. so that just pushed it back by about a second, which isn't much, but I think it will do what we want. I'm also going to go ahead and move the throne room doors opening back by about 1 second. Okay. Oh, which probably actually means that this needs to move back. That's fine, actually. All right. Let's jump back to the splash fade. All right. So let's try this again. Oh, I turned off maximize on play. Oops. Skip through here. Go to start. Options. This is going to be interesting because, well, I'm just curious to actually see what happens. Ah, I knew it. Okay, that's funny. So I got to fix that. Let's go to options. Or not options. Hold on. Benchmark manager. Play particle system. Oh shoot. Hold on. While I'm in here. Play particle system clip. I totally forgot to get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. I need my options view. Okay, options view. Come back down to here. Let's see, benchmark button. We are going to say, here we are on benchmark clicked. Go to definition. So here, I guess I'm going to say if UI.get background fade view. So if it's open is open, then we're going to say UI.close background fade view. Okay, so because there's no reason for us to fade out gently. Or I guess actually what we should do is instead of saying close, I should just say .get. And then I can say .fade out. Or fade in, I guess. 2F. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so that should get that to work. As far as close goes, let's see. This is a text quest view, so I probably need to change that. So we're going to have to let that compile. So I'm going to change it so that when... Oh, jeez. That's rough. Okay. I'm guessing that the cursor showing up in the benchmark scene is because of the options view having show cursor on close enabled, which means that I need to change that actually. Well, real quick, let's go down to not background fade, views, combat, console core, options. Here we are. So probably here. So I don't know if I can actually check that off or not. Because I don't want it for the other ones, obviously. Doesn't really make sense. But for this, I think it might. So let's go ahead and save this and give it a shot. If I am correct in my assumption, the favorite color for the last save file will be green. If I'm correct. What? Okay, that was weird. That's not great. I'm trying to. I don't think there's any audio. Or maybe there is. It's really hard to tell. It's like deathly silent. Okay. So I think, funny enough, I think what I need to do is I need to crank the audio on the torches if I'm going to have any sort of audible, well, audio, because they're too far away, I think. Huh. Let's see what happens. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Was the color correct? So I almost heard it. Yeah, I think I can very barely hear it. Um, oh, funny. The occlusion stuff needs to be updated. Green. Okay. Yep, that's correct. So I'm going to go ahead and stop. And then I'm going to get rid of my save files. So let's just get rid of this. Oh no. Phew. I thought for a second I was going to delete the screenshots folder too. Let's try this again, except now there will be no save data, which means that it should default to red. Yeah, this was another thing that I was worried about. I probably need to make it so that the materials are rebuilt whenever it loads this, so it can't just get dumped into this scene. It probably needs to go through a little bit more of a refined process. But on the bright side, hero is red. So, all right. So for the most part, the benchmark is working. I think the only thing that I really do have left is some minor finesse going to and from it. Specifically, I need to make it so that when I type stuff, it doesn't. If you look, you'll see that the options menu briefly pops up, then it goes away. So what I need to do is I just need to have the benchmark scene not open the options view whenever it closes, which is pretty easy, questionably. Um, let's see here. I'm like 90% sure that it's not open. Okay. Totally thought I had it open. Benchmark manager. Which I guess it's not there. It's probably under benchmark view. Okay. So we're going to say on submit. Here we are. So let's just get rid of this. But yeah, I think we need a little bit more finesse going to and from the benchmark. But that's something for me to figure out a little bit later, just because I need to. Because it's not a true level transition, which means I don't want to use the level transition system. I want to just do something else, and I'll have to figure out, because it's basically going to be doing mostly the same things, but not quite. So that's great. But either way, I think we're going to call it a little early tonight. Mostly because the other couple of things that I had planned would be probably like hour-long tasks, not really 20 minutes. So we're gonna call it a little bit early tonight. But we did get pretty far. We fixed pretty much all of the problems with the current benchmark scene. The only thing that's left really is the substance stuff. Anyway, so no announcements as far as the next couple of days go. So we should be back streaming on Thursday. And I should also be streaming this Saturday as well. So everything should be back on track. So think that's a very good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.